What up, y'all? Hope everything is good. Back for another pod, man. And today, what we call HBCU, our culture. Our culture stands for homecoming, brings culture and unity. It's all about unity. It's all about culture. It's all about giving our flowers. I know we talked about it, but my app, Let Bob, is actually in the App Store, man. So you can download it. Just Google or App Store, Let Bob. Got the Bob shirt, Let Bob, man. And today we got Mr. 40 under 40, but we got Juius Foley. So Julius, introduce yourself.
Can't let my heart show up my sleep. They miss the goal, yeah, from the streets. Spin round the block like I got beef. Baby, I'm like that, you gon' see. These are words of affirmation.
What's going on, fellas? Hey, I'm Juius Foley. I hail from Huntsville, Alabama. Grew up and moved up to Nashville 2000 after I graduated from high school and attended the illustrious Tennessee State University, where I met these two gentlemen right here, brothers, lifelong brothers, friendships, family. Man, I just appreciate y'all having me on the show tonight and thinking about me.
So you from Alabama, right? So what part of Alabama and why Alabama to Tennessee State? Because they got Alabama State, Alabama A&M. They may have another small HBCU in Alabama I don't know about. So why Tennessee State?
All right, so I'm from Huntsville. So I grew up in HBCU culture. My dad attended Alabama A&M University. So I grew up going to Alabama A&M football games, basketball games, Magic City Classic. When people talk about the Classic, I'm like, man, been there, done that. Grew up going to Alabama A&M versus Alabama State. Here's a funny story. Tuskegee University, small school, private school. That was my first college choice. It was in Alabama. Learned about George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington growing up in school. Because like I said, we grew up, they try to push Alabama and Auburn on you when you're in elementary school, PWIs. But nah, my household is like HBCU world over there. Like we grew up Cosby Show, different world and all that type of stuff. So Tuskegee University was my first college choice. And that was based on my Sunday school teachers who were both graduates of Tuskegee. So they implemented in my head, hey, Tuskegee or another HBCU. Now, how I got to TSU is my mom originated from Nashville. She was born and raised in Nashville. She moved to Huntsville when she was younger. So all of her cousins went to Tennessee State. So that was another influence. My oldest brother, Michael Collier, came up here in 92. My junior year in high school, I think it was my spring break. My mom was like, why don't you go spend a couple of days up in Nashville with your brother? At that time, Mike was working in the computer engineering building. So he'd come pick me up on his lunch break, bring me back to campus. I went to campus the first day. It was a wrap. I was like,
you in the 90s?
State University.
It was crazy.
And honestly, that's basically the story on how I got to TSU. My senior year, I thought about either Clark, Atlanta. I went to go to school in Atlanta. Even DeVry in Alpharetta, they came and recruited me. I was like, man, I want to go to school in Atlanta. So I went down there and I was sold on them because I'm like, when you can graduate, we're going to get you a job right out of college making six figures. So my mom was like, all right. So then I took a step back. I was like, well, what's the social life like? Y'all got a basketball team? Y'all got a football team? Because I'm a social person. I like to interact. It's like, nah, but we guarantee you. I'm like, that sounds cool and all, but I want to be around my own people who look like me. So I think it was about a week or two before school started at TSU. My mom took me and we sat in Dean Cade's office. It was like, get my son into school. We drove back to Huntsville that evening. He called us, like, he's accepted. That weekend, I packed, it was that Friday before freshman orientation. That Sunday, I had the car packed, driving to Nashville so I could be in orientation that night during the day. So that's my story on how I got to TSU.
So you had a plug, Dean Cade. You went to Dean Cade office. He said you was accepted. You ain't get the official letter in the mail.
Nope.
Like you accepted. Come on down.
I didn't get nothing in the mail because I didn't apply. Like I applied, but I wasn't really serious. I really wanted to be at Tuskegee or a school in Atlanta. So it was like last minute. I was like, man, I want to go to TSU. And so we drove up there, seen Dean Cade, and Dean Cade, I think we waited for him for about 30 minutes to an hour. And he called us back. It was like, your son accepted. And I was like, I ain't finna throw this opportunity away. So I told my mom, like, look, I'm gonna get in school, get in, and get out in 4 years. She challenged me. She was like, well, you know, the average college student takes 5 years to graduate. I was like, I'm above average. Watch me do it. And I did it. So
shouts out to my family. I'm tripping. My uncle graduated from Tuskegee, and my mama, she ain't finished at Tuskegee, but she started there. So what am I talking about? No other school in Alabama. My bad, family. DK, man. DK was real, man.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
real OG, man. They got to name a building after Dean.
They have to.
Yeah,
it's mandatory.
The way he carry himself, what he do for the university, man. You can't talk about TSU and not talk about Dean K.
Exactly.
Him, Hefner, like you got to talk about them guys, man.
Got to.
Real OGs.
Yeah. Bro, we was talking to somebody the other day about orientation. You remember in orientation, Dr. Hefner was like, look to your left and look to your right.
You're
like,
right. Yep.
They're gonna be here. Yeah, man.
They ain't gonna be there. Yep.
Yeah, I remember
it's real. That's real though. Like
very real.
They might not be there next week.
Yeah. That's why that money don't come in.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's real crazy. Was you ever purged when you was at TSU?
Man, yeah, one time.
How was that?
It was crazy because my financial aid money ain't hit it. So, man, I was scrambling, like trying to like, man, I need my classes back. I'm not sitting out a year. I'm not sitting out a semester. So we got my situation rectified, and I was able to get most of my classes back. So, yeah, that purge. I say this, man, TSU will make you grow up very quick and fast. Because coming from the household, I was like, man, I got it all together. But then having to get financial aid and be in line, I had no ideas about the financial aid line. I remember my freshman year, it was in the auditorium.
In King, get validated.
King, yeah.
No, before it was in King, it was somewhere, it was in the student center, it was a little hallway with a little small auditorium.
Yeah.
About ATMs. So I walk in, it's like packed in there. Kids just sitting down. And me, I ain't know any better. I walked straight up to the lady at the desk, and everybody was like, hold on, what you know? We've been in line 9 hours. I was like, my bad, I ain't know. So I was like, what's going on? It's like your financial aid ain't here. And she like, and plus you to cut everybody in this line off. You got to go back out and have a seat. I was like, man, I'll just come back in the morning. So I set my alarm for like about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and was there. But it made me grow up real fast.
Irresponsible.
I remember that because they had like that big ass computer that spread out that old ass paper.
Yes.
Man, for technology changed so much, man. Like
so much.
So
these kids got it made like touch of a button on the iPad or computer, and they still done.
That's crazy.
So Julius, let's talk about this experience at TSU in the 90s, because I get a little jealous when I hear about people that went to school in the 90s at Tennessee State. And you kind of got that experience Mike did. And it all makes sense because all the Greeks was off yard in the 90s, which is crazy to me. But no Greeks was on the yard hardly in the 90s. So that lets you know TSU was cracking.
Oh, yeah.
But you had that experience. And then you also had this influence in your ear about Tuskegee. You had the colleges back home, A&M, Alabama State. You weren't interested in the War Eagle or Roll Tide. But did you make your decision on TSU when you went with Mike early in the 90s, or when you went to orientation, you kind of made that decision like, all right, like this is it?
When I came to visit Mike in the 90s, 98 to be exact, when I stepped on campus, and I just seen the camaraderie and all the love that was shown, like just being up there for maybe an hour each day that I was up there. I'm like, man. And then the beautiful ladies, like, man, I was like, man.
That's what I was going to get to.
Yeah.
You said 98. You enrolled at TSU when? 2000?
2000.
Same here. So I came to orientation. I had never even been on the campus of TSU. They accepted me. I came to orientation. I came to orientation and walked across the yard from the student center to the computer lab. There was at least, they said it was 10-1. It was like 25-2.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
I told my grandma and them, I said, you can leave me up here. I'm cool. Put me in a hotel, see if we can pay them like outright and let me stay on up here. I don't want to go back home. This is lit to me.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So It's cool to hear you say that, you know what I'm saying? Like you made the decision, but you literally made your decision years prior to you enrolling like officially, right? So you had a gap of time to be like, I don't know, like maybe I could change my mind. So how did you stay the course making your decision so early?
TSU, like I said, I grew up in that HBCU culture, and my cousins on my mom's side, they're from Nashville. So every time I would go to my great aunt's house, which was my grandma's sister, I would always see like TSU, like mail laying around, like everything they talking about TSU. So like it was already embedded in my head, like, man, they love TSU. So I know if they love it, I'm gonna love it. Then when Mike came home his freshman year, they brought his homeboys from like Atlanta around. I'm like, man, it's different. Then he had homeboys from Memphis. I'm like, man, they showing me love. I'm like, man, I can't lose if I go to TSU. So I'm like, I'm in there. Only other choice would have been Tuskegee. I didn't want to stay in Alabama though. That's the only thing. In Tuskegee, it's small. It went nothing down there. But they homecomings, bro. We went down there, I think my sophomore or junior year in high school, they played Alabama A&M. And my dad drove me down there. He was like, this is where you want to go to school at? I'm going to take you down there. They homecomings up there with ours.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
That's a statement right there.
Because it's on campus. So you get that love, the football game right there on campus, tailgate and all that type stuff. Only thing is it's in the middle of nowhere. So it ain't like, they ain't really got no nightlife. They might have to drive to Montgomery, which is probably about 20, 30 minutes away, and kick it. But Tuskegee's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, I saw some. So now with social media, I saw like they had posted something from their homecoming, and they was like sitting in the stands. They all had their colors on. Mm-hmm. They was doing some like chant with their hands and stuff.
They ball and parlay chant. That's what it is.
Okay, I was like, man, that joint look lit. Like, we don't do nothing like that, but like, it just goes to show like those small knit universities, man. Like they kind of have like their own like chant and like, yeah, man, that was dope. I saw that. I was like, dang, Tuskegee like look real turnt around homecoming.
Oh yeah, and then it's another prestigious school like Tennessee State, so they up there like with the rankings and all that type of stuff. But TSU, hey, that's number one all day, every day.
Yeah, facts. And like I said, my uncle, I'm tripping. My uncle went there, man. He was always giving me like, man, why you go to Tennessee State? Why'd you go to Tuskegee? I'm like, oh, whatever, man.
And see, another thing I want to Tuskegee was like the engineering program. I wanted to be an engineer. But then I thought I was like, man, I don't really like math like that. I like numbers, but I ain't trying to be all technical in math and all that type of stuff. I'm like, man, I always told my mom since I was little, I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to work for nobody. I want to work for myself. I said, because ain't nobody going to pay me like I'm going to pay me. Like, you can work for somebody 20, 25 years, and one day they can just get rid of you. I can't get rid of myself because I know I'm going to go out there and grind and hustle every day.